Hello, YouTube.
Hello,
We're
YouTube.
live. Nobody
Yes.
gives a shit.
Yes, we are.
It's fine. Neither do we. Going live on the Psycho Bunny Death Cult momentarily. Really should set this up before I put it. You jackass. Just hold your horses there. Frozen Ground. The Frozen Ground. There's another movie called Frozen Ground, which has nothing to do with anything. I think it's like an oil movie or something.
Probably, yeah.
Something silly. Don't worry about that one. Unless you're really into oil movies. In which case, by all means. Psycho Bunny Death Cult. And go live. They're drunk again.
Who is? You are?
Me? No. Are you? I don't think I've ever seen you drunk, Mom.
Yes, you have.
I've-
At
Yeah, we
the
are.
Halloween
It's
party.
funny. I've seen you, but even still, you were not like that drunk. Or maybe I was drunk. I just don't
The
remember.
parole officer has helped me get a high tolerance.
I could see that.
Oh, yeah.
I could be like drinking and going, is there alcohol in here? Hello.
She has a problem. I'm not saying that this is an intervention, but she sometimes likes to eat hand sanitizer.
I only tried that
That's not-
once.
That's not a good sign.
To see if it really works.
I've
And let
seen
me
those-
tell you, it works.
Of course it does.
It
It's
does.
hand. It's 99% alcohol.
Yeah.
It's meant to sterilize wounds.
Yeah, it kicks your ass.
It's not supposed to be eaten, Monica. That's the problem.
I didn't eat it. I just licked it.
That's the problem. You don't lick it. It doesn't go in your mouth. Oh God.
I just wanted to see if it really worked.
I think I'm gonna dry heave. Just think about it. Hey Clara, how are you? Raven's in the house. What's up, Raven? Have you guys seen a
Hi,
movie
guys.
called The Frozen Ground? It's about Alaskan serial killer Robert Hansen. It's a biopic or crime drama. I don't know how do you describe that? It's not really
Parole officer.
parole officers in the house. Jesse, we're talking about the time she ate hand sanitizer at the hospital. Didn't you have to have him come pick you up?
No, I had to pull over and like chill out for a few minutes in the Target parking lot.
I'm sure that's fine. I'm sure that's not a problem at all. You see what I'm dealing with here? Jesus Christ.
I will try anything just once.
I will try it almost.
Well, actually,
Just once.
I live by the Rob
Almost.
Zombie song.
What's the Rob Zombie
You
song?
know that line where she says, I never try anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a Rob Zombie. Which song is that?
What is it? The 69 song. What's it called?
I don't know.
I don't know.
69?
Yeah.
It's about 69. Hey, Elizabeth, how are you?
Hey, Liz.
I'll look it up after. Maybe we could play it for the show.
Elizabeth is the smart ass you were just telling me about.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. All right. we got ourselves a bit of a wisecracker here in the house.
Mm-hmm.
Odd Mother's in the house. How are you, Odd Mother?
Hi there.
We're gonna talk about the Frozen Ground as soon as I can reach my notebook. Here it comes. They had them. What? What are you talking about now? Normal. That's normal
This is
behavior
normal
for her. See, that's not healthy, parole officer. That is not a healthy thing. This is the limpest fucking microphone stand ever. Look at this thing.
I know. I always have to move it when I'm
You gotta,
talking.
yeah,
in
you
there.
gotta fluff it up every 3 seconds.
Yeah.
You should be used to that.
Come on, man. Come on, microphone stand. All right, here we go.
Hey, Orlando. Hey, Danny.
Danny's in the house. What's up, Danny's?
Yours
Orlando.
is nice and tight.
I know. It's like a virgin microphone stand.
Good night.
Hey now. Hey now. All right, you guys ready to talk about a movie? We're gonna do a podcast
Yeah.
here, if you can believe
Yeah.
that shit. I didn't run the promo because I have been drinking tonight. So have they. They just
No.
have much higher tolerance than I do. Speaking of which, we only get half a buddy right there.
Half
Hi,
as good as
everybody.
There we go.
I-
Okay. Here we go. Add the promo later. It's fine. I can do that. It's the magic of the podcast, is what it is. Whenever you're ready,
All
sir.
right.
Microphone's on. Hold on. No, you're good. Microphone's on. Yes.
Yes.
Everybody,
Here we go.
rock and
1, 2,
roll.
3.
That's right, inmates. We're talking about The Frozen Ground from 2013. This one is written and directed by Scott Walker. Stars Nicolas Cage,
Yeah.
Yay.
John Cusack, and Vanessa Hudgens.
Mhm.
Now,
Mhm.
this here in True Crime Month, here in the Padded Room, is a biopic of Alaskan serial killer Robert Hansen. This dude is a bit of a piece of shit,
Mhm.
if you ask me.
Mhm.
Likes killing prostitutes.
Yeah.
I don't condone that type of behavior. I don't like it. I don't care for it. I don't stand for that. I like prostitutes. I mean, vocation notwithstanding, I know quite a few prostitutes. They're generally pretty good people. It's legal here in Nevada, okay? Before you start casting judgment on the podcast, I'm telling you right now, it's perfectly legal in the
Hi,
state of Nevada. Hey,
Steven.
Stevesy's in the
Hey,
house.
Steven.
What's up, Stevesy? Cherry's also in the house. What's up, Cherry?
Yeah.
What's up?
So this is actually a pretty accurate representation of the crimes and the life of Robert Hansen,
Mhm.
Anchorage, Alaska serial killer, early 80s. What he would do, well, I'll just jump right into the movie, I guess. So we have Vanessa Hudgens playing a prostitute. Now, we'll know her from her works in High School Musical.
Mhm.
I think she was on Glee for a minute or two. Rather attractive, if I do say so myself, but I've seen her in other things. Very attractive in this movie. Other movies, you don't think so?
No, I didn't think so.
You didn't think she was hot in this movie?
Sucker Punch, she looked good.
Okay, Sucker Punch, she did
Oh,
look
yeah.
good, but Sucker Punch is a weird fucking movie, and I don't know how much of that is an actual movie and how much of that is a goddamn cartoon. So I'm gonna say I like her in this movie because she's a little on the skanky side, and that's something I am into. That's just me. That's just my own personal preference. I don't know if that means anything, but a little bit of well, she's a bit of a prostitute in this one, and she looks like you would expect an early 80s Alaska prostitute to look like. I don't know. When I think Alaska prostitute, I picture like somebody in a bearskin thing,
Yeah.
you know, with like
Oh
a
my God.
coming out of an igloo with like, do you have whale blubber for me? I will give you Eskimo kisses.
With that greasy hair.
I like the greasy
Oh,
hair. I thought
God.
that was hot. I mean, you know, she's a prostitute. Doesn't have time to rinse and
No.
repeat and
No
lather.
shower available.
Then she had access to a shower. Also, I didn't actually run through the entire cast list of this movie, but was that 50 Cent in there?
I don't
50 Cent as the
It
pimp?
looked like it.
I thought I'm 90% sure that was 50 Cent as the
Really?
pimp. Yeah, I could be wrong. I don't know. Looked an awful lot like him, whoever he was.
Okay, I'll have to.
Hey,
All right, go
Jason,
ahead.
what's up?
Go
guys?
ahead,
Hey,
9 Chris is in the house. What's going on, you guys? So here's the thing. We're going to start off with a prostitute played by Vanessa Hudgens being rescued from what I would assume is like a prostitute heavy hotel. But not necessarily maybe a brothel. I don't know how Alaska works, but it's a prostitute style hotel, so a place where you pay by the hour type of thing. And she's been handcuffed and she's been beaten, and some cops come in and they actually extract her from there. She's very happy to see them. Now, from there, we're going to cut to the police precinct where she's being questioned. She identifies her attacker, the guy that abducted her, as Bob Hansen, who at this point in time is a very upstanding member of the Anchorage, Alaska community. Owns a bakery, a family man, everything you'd come to expect from a Alaska fucking pillar of the community, so to speak, for lack of a better term. What's up, Jason? Good evening to you, sir.
And you are absolutely correct.
About what?
50 cents.
It was 50 Cent.
Oh,
Hey now.
with the long hair.
He did not look good in this
No.
movie. No. They didn't do 50 Cent any favors in this movie.
It was a half cent.
Yeah, he had like a mullet thing going
Yeah.
on, man. Which
Long
does
hair.
not look good on a black man. I don't think. I don't know.
No.
No, I mean, Alaska pimps. That's like a whole other. We need like a National Geographic special on just Alaska pimps because I feel like that's a whole other thing right there. Anyway,
It's 50 cent.
50 cent. Sorry. So we extract the young lady from the prostitute-ridden hotel, and they get her out. They question her. They bring Bob Hansen in and question him, and they basically decide to disregard the entire testimony of the young lady, which is a shitty thing to do. She's a prostitute. Bob Hansen's a good guy. He's a member of the community, family man, blah, 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 blah. Who are you going to believe, the prostitute or the guy that owns the bakery that takes my kids up in the airplane every now and then?
Right.
So that's a shitty thing to do. And that is historically accurate. That's exactly what happened. And that's how Bob Hansen got away with this shit for as long as he did. So that sucks. They cut Vanessa Hudgens loose. She's playing a young lady by the name of Cindy Paulson. Name's going to come up again. Now we're going to cut to a couple years in the future. We find ourselves a dead body out in the ice, in the tundra, in the frozen. I don't know. I don't know what Alaska's like, but I assume it's like Anchorage and then a bunch of nothing. Right? Is that? I don't know. Do we have anybody out there from Alaska?
Liz, help us out here.
Yeah, Liz. I figure it's like Anchorage and then just 30 days of night everywhere else.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what I think of too.
They probably have vampires up there. I don't fucking know what's going on. But that's what's happening. And they find themselves a dead body out there, and it is rotten, and it is bad. Severe trauma. 223 round to the head, 2 to the legs, 2 to the chest, 1 to the head. Bad business. Can't quite identify her. Actually, they do identify her. They identify her as Sue. I forget the last name, but the first name is Sue, and she's wearing a prominent bracelet, is what they find on the dead body. So they take that, and they're like, oh, shit, look at this. She's a fucking dead chick. They identify her as a local prostitute. Her name was Sue something. Now what we have is a dead body, so we have to hand this to one of the detectives. Here comes Nicolas Cage. He's playing a detective who's 2 weeks out from getting out of the fucking police force. He's got himself a job. No, he's got a better job lined up with an oil company, which I don't know what that means exactly. I think I would rather be a cop than work on an oil line or an oil rig. Oil rig work, like roughneck work, sounds very daunting and taxing. And I feel like I would be filthy every day when I came home. Being an Anchorage police officer, on the other hand, sounds very cold and really just cold, right? I mean, I don't know. I've never been to Anchorage. Is there a lot of crime?
You would think there's no crime there.
I wouldn't. I feel like it would be like that guy shot my walrus. So
well, Liz has lived there 20 years.
Okay, I lived there for 20 years. Did anybody shoot?
Summer.
Did anybody shoot your walrus, Liz? And if so, what kind of charges were filed? The walrus abuse? Is that a thing? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know, Liz. I need some help here. Anchorage is like Reno. Okay, so they probably have meth in trailers.
In desert.
Summer's in the house. What's up, Summer? I don't think they have death up there, actually. I don't think that's a thing. It's too fucking cold. So he's like, okay, well, here we have a dead body. I don't want this case because I'm going to be out of here in 2 weeks. How about you give it to somebody else? And the chief is like, fuck you, asshole. Here's your case. It's probably a dead prostitute. Good news, you can just kind of shove it under the filing cabinet and go on about your getting out of here in 2 weeks. And he's like, I'm not going to do that because I'm Nicolas Cage. So he puts together the entire evidence board and he starts going through back cases and things like that. What he finds is a chain of missing and or deceased young ladies, prostitutes from that area, all fitting the same physical description. And now more bodies are starting to show up in the Alaskan wilderness, which is kind of creepy. Lots of crime in Alaska. Okay. Towns outside. Yeah, I get that. Smell.
There's a lot of missing people in Alaska.
I would imagine so.
Yeah.
Because it's just nothing. If you got a dead guy, take him to Alaska. He's going to fucking find him.
No, I read that they don't know if it's because there's a lot of alcoholism in
I can
Alaska.
see that.
people pass out and die in the
They
snow,
just go walking off.
or there's a lot of alien activity up there,
Fucking aliens.
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 if you believe.
Also, if you piss off a walrus,
Oh
It
my God.
will come-
Tusk will come and hunt you
it
down.
will come at you, bro. It will not. It is. It will. It will hack into your email. It will fuck up some shit. Get a hold of your credit card numbers, dude. Do not fuck with walruses. I'm telling you right now.
Dustin Long will show up at your door.
He's got a shitty podcast, even shittier than this one. He's gonna want to interview you for some shit, and then before you know it, you got him chained up in your basement. You don't know what's going on. All right, anyway, back to the serial killer stuff. So that's pretty gnarly. Right about now, we're gonna cut to Bob Hansen, played by John Cusack. Now, I don't know how much John Cusack got paid for this, but it was too much. I can tell you that right now, because we could have easily replaced him with a mannequin and gotten the exact same performance. I think he had like 5 lines in the entire movie, right?
Pretty much.
He did a lot of pacing around and running his fingers through his hair and, "Ooh, what am I going to do? I don't know." Nicolas Cage is a crapshoot as an actor these days. Either a totally shitty movie or an outstanding one. Oh. Well, I mean, I think he's good, Natalie, if he's playing Nick Cage. You know, you take like a Mandy, balls to the wall. But that's exactly what you want from Nick Cage. You try to put him in some weird like romantic thing, you're gonna get like the plastic surgery guy.
He did really good in Peggy Sue.
That was 29 years ago, man.
Raising Arizona.
Raising
Yes,
Arizona was
that's
great.
right.
What was the one where he was an Elvis impersonator, and he had to rescue his wife from Hawaii? What is that?
Oh, that was with what's her name, the dog face.
Yeah,
Was it Sarah Jessica Parker?
it might have been. It might have been. I don't remember the name of the movie, but he had to jump out of an airplane as an Elvis impersonator to get that one. Alcohol, #1 crime rate. Aliens come. Oh,
Come on.
have another shot. I'll do a shot with an alien. I'd love to hear what they have to say.
Yeah.
Anyway, so now we're going to pick up with another young lady. Now, the MO of this dude is that he picks up prostitutes and exotic dancers, and he offers them money to come be in some kind of a photo shoot for him. And this is actually how Robert Hansen operated. They would, of course, accept the money and go with him wherever the fuck he wanted to. He would then kidnap them, rape them repeatedly over the course of like a week, and then load them up into his private plane, drive them out into the Alaskan wilderness, let them go, and then hunt them for sport.
Yeah.
Ice-T Surviving the Game
Yes.
style, which is fucking nutty. 8mm was one of my. That's
Oh,
another good
yeah.
one. That's another good one. Odd Mother, 8mm.
Oh, Valley Girl, I love that movie.
Don't know that I've seen that one.
I don't think I've seen that one.
That's with our little sweetheart from April Fools. What's her name? Deborah Foreman.
She's weird. I don't like her.
Oh,
I don't like her. I don't like her face. I don't like her like small teeth and her beady eyes.
I'm surprised the parole officer didn't bring up what was that one? Face Off.
Oh, that's a good one. That is a good one.
Travolta and Nicolas Cage.
I want to his face off. Oh. All right. Anyway. So right now we're going to catch up with this MO in action. There's a young lady who I think she's like 17, 18. She is like ready to go for one of these photo shoots. She's pretty hot. She's like, "Oh, I'm going to go on a photo shoot." And he, of course, abducts her, takes her into his basement, chains her to like a weird thing, like a pillar, and like makes a sexual playground out of her for a couple of days. Now I know what you're thinking. You're thinking to yourself, Darian, how the fuck is this guy getting away with this? He's got a wife and kids. He would just send his wife and kids off, like go, like
Oh, yeah.
here, just take some money and go to your parents, go to fucking Disneyland, just get the fuck out of here. And they're like, okay, yeah,
He
we'll
must
do that.
make really good money.
He owned a bakery,
Yeah.
right? I mean, if you think about it, if you're in Alaska and you're freezing your balls off, a croissant, right? A croissant. I'll go in for a croissant right now.
Okay.
Sure, I'll pay top dollar for a fucking croissant. And this guy's probably making a killing up there. You know what I'm saying?
Probably.
So yeah, and they would just leave. And this is actual like case file that they would just go in weeks at a time. He would have the entire place to himself. Gets down there, rapes the shit out of her, makes her do a bunch of weird shit like piss on the floor, and then she has to clean it up. And then eventually the whole shit culminates when he loads her up in the plane and then drives her out in the wilderness, lets her go, and then hunts her and kills her in like a big game animal, more or less.
Yeah.
Shitty thing to do.
Mhm.
So that's pretty gnarly, and that's pretty much how that little side story is going to culminate. Now, while that's going on, we have Nicolas Cage, who's putting the whole shit together. He says, I'm gonna track this dude down. I'm gonna get to the bottom of this fucking asshole." And this is where he comes across the testimony of Cindy Paulson, played by Vanessa Hudgens. And he's like, "Okay, she managed to escape. This dude fits the whole MO. She fingered him, figuratively, or maybe literally. I don't fucking know. Lord of War is another good one, Natalie. But there was no charges filed. I don't understand why. I need to track down Cindy Paulson, talk to her, find out what she knows about Bob Hansen." So now he goes on like a weird, seedy kind of deep dive into the Anchorage, Alaska underworld of prostitution and shitty clubs, trying to track down Cindy Paulson. Now we're going to catch up with Cindy herself. She has fallen on some hard times. I mean, even worse, really, than when we picked up. She's now, she's kind of gotten picked up by this predatory. I mean, she already has a pimp with 50 Cent, but now she's got like another, there's like a double down on the pimps. Because now there's like this other chick that shows up and she's like, "Babe, you're freezing out here. Let me take you to the club and we're going to warm you up and we're going to get you dancing." So she takes her to this shitty nightclub in Anchorage and gets her started on like exotic dancing and gets her started on crystal meth also. She's like, "We're going to do you straight. You give me half and we won't fuck you and you don't fuck us." So, I mean, is that any better than 50 Cent? I don't think so. Who would you rather have as a pimp?
The woman.
The woman?
The woman.
Well, I mean, I feel like I could take the woman in a fight. 50 Cent's probably going to ball me up pretty good, to be
And
honest
he's
with you.
probably hung, so I would take the woman.
Oh my.
I mean, there's a good chance of that also. So
If I'm gonna get anal raped, I'd rather have the woman.
she's going to whip out a foreign object, though.
Well, you know, it could be smaller. So
I don't know.
I'm taking the woman.
Well, I don't think she's going to get in there with a number 2 pencil. That'd be pretty stupid. This is a complete waste of time.
No,
I don't think she even feels this.
I'm not taking the brother. Sorry.
I'll take the brother over the baseball bat. That's just me. If anybody's paying attention, I don't know. I don't know what's going on anymore. This show has gone completely off the fucking rails.
Zach says he'll take 50.
I'm with Zach. Welcome to the Monica's Asshole Show. What is we gonna put in Monica's asshole? All right. All right. So now she's like exotic dancing, and this is where
Take him deep.
I think I don't know, man. I'll go down swinging, but I'll probably still go down there, parole officer. So that's pretty gnarly, and it sucks for her because now she's like on this constant downward spiral / losing streak.
Yeah.
From there, we're gonna catch up with Nicolas Cage. He's like infiltrating and he's kind of trying to track her down. Also, just by happenstance, Robert Hansen himself happens to be in one of these nightclubs where she's dancing. So he's like, "That's the hooker that got away. I got to get her and I got to put her in the ground because she can tell my story." So now we have like a cat and mouse and other cat game going on between Hansen, Paulson, and Nicolas Cage. So the good news though is that Nicolas Cage has like access to the Vice Squad, and he's got a big tough looking dude there that knows the ins and outs of the Alaska underground and which circles, and he's like running them through the whole thing. Mob runs girls up here. They go from Sacramento to Portland to Seattle to here, and then they just keep rotating them, and it's a fucking shit show. And he's like, "Oh, this is fucking nonsense." And while that's going on, Hansen though is like in with one of the bouncers, real shitty real big guy, real shitty guy though. He's like, I need that Cindy girl and I'm gonna get her because I gotta fucking get with her. He's like, okay, it's gonna cost you 10 grand. So the big guy is like well connected in the underground apparently. He goes to 50 Cent and roughs him up a little bit. And he's like, hey, you owe some money to some fucking people and I need to fucking get that girl. So you bring her to me, your debts are forgiven. And 50 Cent's like, oh shit, all right, easy there. Which is pretty scary because who knows where that's going to go, right? While that's going on, Nicolas Cage, the detective, actually catches up to Paulson and brings her in, questions her again. We have like a weird budding relationship between Paulson and the detective, and I thought maybe they were thinking about possibly having sex with each other at some point. No. Well, they went to the roller rink. You know, that's where you take.
Like he thought this could have been
his daughter, which I get that too.
I didn't feel no sexual
tension. Maybe I just wanted to see Vanessa Hudgens
He was just feeling sorry.
He was feeling something, I think.
But his wife was a hack.
His wife was played by what's her name? Not Naomi. Rhoda Mitchell.
Silent Hill lady.
Rhoda Mitchell. She's in it for all of about 6 minutes, and she doesn't like any of this. And she's on his ass about, we got to sell the house, we're going to take the oil job, and you're going to live happily ever after. And he's like, okay, let me just finish this case here. And then this part I don't understand at all. So Paulson knows that Hansen is after her because he saw her at the club. And she's like, I got to get the fuck out of here, dude, because he's going to be looking for me, and he's got all these connections, and I don't want any part of this shit. So she goes to the airport like she's going to leave. Where she's going, I have no fucking idea. But they stall her at the airport. They get there, and they're like, dude, we're going to put you in protective custody, so just relax. We are going to need you to testify at some point. She's like, oh, fuck this. I don't want to go back to my parents' house. Hey, it's the late horror shows in the house. What's up, guys?
Hi, guys.
We're talking about The Frozen Ground. If you've ever seen it, Nicolas Cage, John Cusack, masterpiece, true crime, even.
Yes.
Regardless, she's on her way out of Alaska, and that's when they catch her. They bring her in, and they're like, "Okay, dude, look, we're gonna put you in protective custody," which apparently in Alaska means you go stay at the detective's house.
Yeah.
Do they not? That sounds ridiculous.
Protective custody.
Come, it's my guest room. That's the safest place in Alaska.
That would be okay with me.
Why?
I'm sure it would.
I'm in the detective's house. What
But if he's sound asleep in the next room, somebody could easily creep in there.
Well, he's got a gun.
Well, yeah, and he's also sound asleep. I'm gonna say no to the detective's house. That's just my opinion. Regardless, now something we have to remember is that Cindy Paulson is, I think, like 18, 19 at this point,
right.
And she comes from a very troubled family. So she goes to stay at Nicolas Cage's house, and while she's there, she overhears him and his wife arguing about shit, and the wife is like, she can't stay here, this is crazy. And he's like, what am I going to do? I'm going to put her somewhere, so I don't fucking know. And she's like, well, you got to get her just for one night, so I don't know, just got to keep her safe. And while she's hearing this, and she's like, oh, okay, fuck this shit, I'm out of here, dude. So she grabs her bag, walks right out the front door through the Alaskan wilderness in the middle of the night, and catches a cab on a random freeway.
Because why not?
I guess that's something that just happens. Cabs go through the Alaskan wilderness on a regular.
They don't have bears there.
They do. I know they do.
Sarcastic.
They do. But she was wearing a fur coat.
So she looked like one.
I think that threw off the bears. The bear was like, I'm gonna eat myself a prostitute. Oh no, that's not. That's just a fucking badger.
Okay.
The sun's a little off, but you look like a bear. So.
That's a skinny-legged badger wearing knee-high black leather boots. There's nothing to worry about there. Don't fucking fuck off.
It's a prostitute bear.
It's a prostitute badger, is what it is. Just, you don't want to eat that thing, man. It's gonna give you some weird mouth stuff. Monica wants to be snowed in with a stranger.
Yeah.
No, only Tom Hardy. God.
Jesus. Ah,
Yeah, get it right.
Get it right.
Tom Hardy.
bear. So she's now in the wind once again. She goes back to the Pence place. 50 Cent's place, and he's like, well, all right, then get your ass back to work. So she goes out and starts turning tricks, or like half-ass trying to turn tricks, not having a good night. And it's snowing like a motherfucker, and she's freezing. So she goes back to the club thinking she can get on stage. Instead of getting on stage, though, she just runs right to the ladies' room, does a bunch of drugs, and borderline to ODs. Now, once she walks into the club, the bouncer calls Robert Hansen. Robert Hansen shows up as about the time that Nicolas Cage realizes that she's no longer in his guest room. So him and his big, ugly Vice Squad guy are going through the streets of Anchorage trying to find her.
Mm-hmm.
Him, Robert Hansen, and the big mean bouncer converge on the same club at the same time. Now, bad news, Cindy has completely OD'd. I don't know what kind of drug she was doing, but she was snorting them off the back of a toilet, which is not a good sign, my friend. I'm all for drug use, my friends, but you gotta
have standards.
You gotta maintain. You know what I'm saying? You gotta take a look in the mirror at some point and be like, I'm in a strip club in a ladies' room, snorting fucking some kind of stuff off of a toilet bowl. I probably should reevaluate a few things in my life. Good news though, Robert Hansen follows the wrong chick or something, ends up in a weird fire exit. Nicolas Cage actually gets to the right ladies' room where she is and gets her out of there. Gets her out of there, checked into a hospital, and everything's cool for a minute. Now, about this whole time, Nicolas Cage has been trying to get somebody to sign off on a search warrant for Hansen's house. Mm-hmm. More bodies are being found. They all have 223s in them. So he's like, we find ourselves a fucking 223 and we will nail this prick to the wall. And you're like, well, he's like, the DA is a real prick. He's like, I need evidence. He's like, I have witness testimony. I have a string of different murders, all fitting the same description. He brings in an FBI profiler. FBI profiler pretty much draws him a picture of Robert Hansen, outdoorsman, single, Caucasian, mid-40s, probably stutters, some kind of a weird social anxiety type of a thing going on. But nobody wants to listen to anybody. So he's like, I just need more evidence, you fucker. And he's like, well, give me a search warrant. I'll go into his house, find the 223, and then you'll have your evidence. And he's like, not without more evidence. Well, where the fuck are we going with this thing? We're just chasing each other around, you asshole. Right. So in the meantime, more bodies are being found in the Alaskan wilderness, and they're all gross. They've all been mauled by bears and frozen to the core, sludgy, and they fucking they all have bullet holes from 223 in them, which is gross. And they find another one, after the third or fourth one, they find all kinds of nasty shit on this body. Mm-hmm. Somebody tried to decapitate her with a flat blade, which is completely gross. I mean, I'm not one for decapitation, but if you're gonna do it, man, do it like a clean chop. Somebody came in here with a butter knife and tried to cut this poor lady's head off. Yeah. Disgusting. That's disgusting. That's unruly. Forget about it. Rude is what it is. It's just rude.
He's going to hang it on his wall.
I don't know what he's doing. I don't know what he's doing with this shit. Anyway, at this point, Nicolas Cage is like, I got Robert Hansen, dude. I know this is the fucking guy. I just need to find a little more evidence so that I can actually arrest his ass and bring him in. We can question him, we can hold him, we can do whatever we want to. Once you just need that fucking search warrant, motherfuckers. Mm-hmm. So about this time, Cindy Paulson comes out of her drug-induced coma, OD, whatever it is. And we get some very touching interview time between him and her, and she's telling him about what a shitty upbringing she had, and he's bringing up to her about how his wife or his sister was killed by a drunk driver, and he kind of blames himself in a weird way. It's very, very nice. She's like, oh, sorry, I fucked up your house, and your wife is mad at you and all that stuff. And he's like, forget about it. So good news, we finally get Hansen on a search warrant. Now, they've been staking him out this whole time. We see Hansen spot them in their car, so he kind of hits the panic button. He grabs a bunch of weird jewelry and little trophies he's kept from his victims and his kid, and they get in the plane and go hauling ass into the Alaskan wilderness. They try to stop the plane from taking off, but it's too late. And he's already gone, dude. He's out in the fucking tundra somewhere. They bring it in. we follow him out there. He takes the bag of evidence and like he's got like these weird safe lock boxes set up, and he basically hides the shit in there. Plane comes back and they're like, "Oh, you motherfucker!" But they finally get the search warrant signed, so they're like, "We're gonna turn your fucking house upside down, dude."
Mhm.
Arrest him under suspicion of kidnapping and rape for Cindy Paulson. She's ready to testify if necessary.
Yep.
Start questioning him. In the meantime, they are going through his house with a fine-tooth comb. Find a lot of stolen shit. And this is a funny thing about Robert Paulson. He was also a raging kleptomaniac. Stole everything he could get his hands on.
Mhm.
All the trophy heads stolen, just like trailers and bunkers and sheds full of stolen shit on his property. To what end, I have no idea. Plus, he was involved in like this weird insurance scam where he would steal shit, insure it, then claim it as like being stolen or destroyed or something, and then try to bring in the money from the insurance.
And that's okay.
Oh, you like that?
Yeah, I like
You're a
that.
fucking criminal. You're a criminal.
I call that the 5-finger discount.
The 5-finger discount.
All right.
Insurance fraud for any of our law
It's
enforcement.
okay.
It's not. It's a felony.
Whatever. Don't get caught, you guys.
If any of our law enforcement listeners are paying attention, this one right here. Keep an eye on her.
I'm
We don't
guilty.
endorse any of
The opinions and views of Miss Monica do not reflect those of the Padded Room podcast. So that's pretty gnarly. So they're like, they find just all kinds of stolen shit. All the trophy heads in his den, all stolen. They're like, well, we can put him away, but he's going to be out in a year or two. So unless you can find that 223 rifle, then we're going to have to cut a deal with the DA. It's going to be like a misdemeanor type of a thing. And here comes Paulson's attorney. Pretty soon we start actually questioning, or not Paulson, Hansen's attorney. We start questioning Hansen. Cage is really putting the screws to him while they're searching the house,
Yeah.
going back and forth. And they keep calling him, "Hey, man, we don't have a 223. We got a shit ton of stolen guns. That's like an extra 5 years onto a sentence, but we don't have any kind of murder or anything." He's like, "Motherfucking fuck." Keeps the pressure on, holding him without bail on suspicion of murder. Suspicion. No actual charges filed yet. From there, he's like, "Motherfucker, we're going to have to let him go unless he confesses." So he comes up with this ingenious scheme. The bracelet that the chick gave him at the beginning of the movie, he's got that. And he's relatively sure. It's a big gamble here, but he thinks that if he shows that to Hansen, he can convince Hansen that they found that wherever he dumped it, i.e. the other one that the sister never took off.
Right.
I know I'm probably not making a lot of sense right now. You're just going to have to bear with me. So he goes in, he's like, "Look what I found, fucker. We found all the other evidence too. We know exactly where you put it. And as soon as the ground thaws, I'm going to go out there and find the rest of it, you son of a bitch." And he's like, "Oh, I don't know what that is." But you can see him getting nervous. And John Cusack, I actually think, did a pretty good job.
Oh yeah.
Despite the fact that he only had like 5 or 6 lines in the whole movie. He's like, I don't know what's going on. And then we get this whole diatribe, misogynistic, granted, but he's like, they're just prostitutes, man. You pay them for services rendered, and then sometimes they don't deliver, and they need to be taught a lesson, right? And he's like, well, I mean, I get these urges, and I don't know. And you can see he's almost on the point of cracking.
Mhm.
And then we march Cindy Paulson and Vanessa Hudgens into the room, and she's like, and he loses his shit. He's like, "That effing C." I'm not going to say it on YouTube. "I should have killed you when I had the chance, you bitch." And they're like, "Oh, that's an admission. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, Mr. Hansen." And then after that, we get the call from the Hansen house. They actually did find the 223s, and they found a weird map behind the headboard of his bed with a bunch of little tick marks all over the Alaskan wilderness. And they're like, "Oh, this is where you're hiding all the evidence, and there's probably more bodies out there, isn't there, you son of a bitch?" And from there, he confesses to, I believe, 17 actual murders. And we go, each time we go to one of these little tick marks on the map, we find more bodies. He was convicted of 17. There's probably they're thinking there's probably a lot more
Mhm.
dead prostitutes out there, but 17 is what he copped to. I think he got life without. Is that right? Or did he is Alaska?
It was like 364
Oh,
years.
that's right. It was like 461 years plus life.
Yeah, plus 2 lives or something.
Ridiculous. He's not getting
Never
it. He's
getting
never
out.
going to get out, and that's for the best because prostitutes are okay in my book, and I don't think I like anybody that kills prostitutes.
Yeah.
No, I don't. I don't care for that.
Mhm.
I don't like that at all. What did you guys think of the Frozen Ground?
It was okay.
What do you mean it was okay?
Well, I mean, I've seen
What did-
this movie so many times
Okay.
that I'm used to it.
What are you, some kind of a Robert Hansen super fan? She's got a poster of Robert
No,
Hansen in
I
the bedroom.
don't. I just,
He's so dreamy.
like I was telling you earlier, I watched all of Nicolas Cage's movies, and John Cusack is just so blah.
Like I said, we
No.
probably could have replaced him with a mannequin in this movie and gotten the same performance.
But you're right. His best part was when he got mad at the end.
Yeah, that
Like
was
when he exploded.
that was about it.
Yeah.
I thought it was a great show.
Yeah, me too.
I don't know that I would call this so much a horror movie as it is like a crime drama thing. That doesn't make it bad. It's still a pretty good show.
Oh, it's better than your Zac Efron movie.
Oh no, I don't think so.
Oh, 100
Oh,
times
yeah.
What
better.
what? No. Hey,
Oh, my
no.
God.
You guys are out of here. You're out of line.
Listeners, what do you think? Zac Efron or this movie?
He sealed his own
Oh, my
fate. Should have
God.
not said anything. You're exactly right, Danny. He probably could have beat the rap if he would have just kept his fucking mouth shut. I don't know that that's how it actually went down in reality, though. I think that's just for the point of the movie.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
he
you're right,
already
Liz.
died?
He did die.
He died in 2014.
As a matter of fact, he died August 21st, which is my birthday in 2014.
Oh, wow.
It's also
Interesting.
my wife's birthday,
Right.
which makes things very awkward around here on August 21st. Because I'm like, buddy's having a birthday party.
Well, we're all kind of
My
famous
wife
for
is having a
something.
birthday.
then.
I've never seen it. No, I want to see it. It's definitely worth a watch, Danny.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Check it out. It's on
Yeah.
where did Amazon Prime is where I saw it. Pretty good show. Crime drama.
Mhm.
Not a lot of gore, not a lot of rape or any of that stuff. But if you're into it, and you can actually research the case online if you want, just
Oh, yeah.
do a Google search of Robert Hansen, Anchorage, Alaska.
Mhm.
Bring up
Mhm.
all the facts. A lot of crime scene footage, or like pictures and stuff.
Mhm.
A lot of disgusting, frozen, dead young ladies. If you're into that sort
Well,
of
the
thing,
guy is so nerdy looking.
he is.
Oh, yeah.
I'm serious. Dude, if you would have picked me
He's a
up, I
doofus.
would have bashed your fucking head in.
He's a doofus. Well, I
Oh
mean, if
my
he has a
God.
gun or something,
Well, I'm going to go out fighting. I'm
Well-
not getting raped.
Me neither.
That's the bottom line.
Me neither. But if it is 50 Cent doing the raping,
Oh,
Pour back on 50.
I'm just gonna say right now, if it's like I'm gonna put it in your ass, or I'm gonna break
I'm
it.
gonna,
I'm gonna give you
I
this
will
table
take
leg.
that bullet, please, before I take that horse.
Or are you calling 50 Cent a horse? Or I'll take the horse before I take the table leg. I feel like at least there's some pliability with
I
the
watch a lot of
African
porn
American
talk.
gentlemen. So do
So
I.
I know African American men are like horse men.
But if they're on Pornhub, then they're naturally going to be the biggest of the big. All right, this is what,
Yeah,
once again we've gone completely
I
off the
will take
rails.
the bullet. I'll be like, please kill me, sir.
You know what? Yeah, probably me too. I don't think I want any part of any of it. To be honest with you. All right, gang. That was
Frozen ground.
Frozen Ground from
Yes.
2013. I say it's a good show. You get
Yeah,
Nicolas Cage,
definitely watch it.
John
Yeah.
Cusack, minimal John Cusack. I like me some Vanessa Hudgens, especially in this movie. I like a skanked up Vanessa Hudgens. That's just me. Nobody else thought she was hot in
No.
this. All right.
She's a cute girl. I just didn't care for her greasy hair. It was very upsetting. to
She's
me.
supposed to be a prostitute. Why is it so upsetting?
Well, take a shower, honey.
She's a prostitute.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, if you're hooking up with a prostitute, you want to smell leftovers? Or
If
do you
I'm
wanna-
hooking up with a prostitute,
I,
smell.
I want a refreshed
The s-
prostitute.
The smell is the least of my worries.
Oh my
What
God.
do you think I'm gonna do? Give her a bad Yelp review or something? Get the fuck out. All right, guys. Thank you very much for joining us, Psycho Bunny Death Cult and YouTube subscribers. We will see you next week with what do we decide?
What are we gonna do next week?
All right, we're gonna do The House on the Hill, which is based on the Leonard Lake Charles Eaton case here in True Crime Month in the Padded Room. Join us for that. We are gonna take us a little break and we'll come back with some other stuff.
Thanks, guys.
We can hang out for another minute or two, if you guys don't mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, check out if you get a chance, Google Robert Hansen, because like this was actually surprisingly accurate to the actual case, the movie. Yeah, so do that if you're at all fascinated by serial killers or the great state of Alaska, because it looks beautiful up there. Would you ever consider living in Alaska?
Yes, I would.
It looks great.
Absolutely.
It looks great. You got to have like a really good house, I would imagine.
And that's only because of
Yeah.
my Malamutes.
No, your Malamute used to be fine up there.
They've
Oh, yeah.
changed my mind. So
Well, thank you very much, Danny. We love hearing from you.
Yeah, thanks,
anywhere
Dan.
cold and fireplaces, I'm there now.
I feel like I could do it for like 3 months. After that, I'd be like, this is fucking bullshit.
Oh no.
At least give me some rain or something.
Oh
Can I
my
get?
God, away from people and the
Oh,
hustle and bustle.
I need that. I need all that.
Oh.
I need the hustle and bustle. If I'm left to my own devices for too long, I'll freak right out.
Well,
I'll
you have your
freak out.
wife and kids.
That's what I'm talking about.
Oh my God.
That's what I'm talking about.
Liz said earlier, Alaska starts 6 months cold, so a lot of people fly down to the lower 48.
That makes sense. That's
Yeah.
probably what I would do. I could probably do 6 months in Alaska before I completely lost my shit. You know?
6 months?
Yeah, I'd probably do 6.
Lots of snow.
Do a cold 6.
I'm good with snow.
What about what is it? Is it any better in the summer? I would imagine, right? Yeah, it can't be frozen all the time, Liz. Right? You would get lots of snow. Yeah, well, I imagine it's Alaska.
I'll be good as long as I have a tanning bed in the garage.
Oh, fuck.
Tanning bed,
Yeah,
of course.
you know. Old alligator skin over
I
here.
just need a tan.
Old beef jerky lips
Yeah.
over here.
I'm okay as long as I can.
Ah,
tan.
22
I
hours
don't
of
care.
sunlight.
at a time?
Oh my God.
No,
Get the tinfoil
I
right
can't.
around the windows.
Yeah, I can't. I don't know if I can hang with that. I don't know about that, Liz. Yes, tanning bed is needed. All right.
Oh yes.
I don't know if I can hang with 22 hours of daytime, man. I gotta get some sleep. That would drive me crazy. I don't know if I can do that.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you very much again for joining us. Join us next week for The House on the Hill. PaddedRoomPodcast.com is where you find anything you need to know about us, Buddy, Monica, the rest of the shows here in the Padded Room Network. Patreon stuff if you feel like kicking down a little something. Don't feel obligated though. Well,
But if you do, then you can pick the movies.
you can
want us
pick
to watch.
the theme for February.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, then I'm gonna pick the theme.
You can punish us if
You don't want me to pick the theme, motherfuckers. We might do a Valentine's Day horror show. You don't want it.
There's not that many good ones.
There are. Oh no, there's one or two, but that's about it. All right, guys. Thank you again for joining us. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.